Chapter 4, Test Review. Questions 1 and 2, we have to multiply or divide, and we're going to have to write our answer in simplest form. So when we look at number 1, 1/4 times 18. To write these out, I write it out as 1/4 times 18 as a fraction is 18 over 1. I multiply across, top number times top number, 18 times 1 is 18. Bottom number times bottom number, two denominators, 4 times 1 is 4. And then I put that in simplest form. I know that 2 is a factor of each, so I divide each by 2. 9 over 2. And if I put that into more simplest forms, I take 9 divided by 2, and I get 4 1/2. Number 2, I have 8/9 divided by 3 over 3/2. 8/9 divided by 2/3. So 8/9. I want to remember my keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, change my sign to multiply, flip the second fraction to 3 over 2. 8 times 3 is 24. 9 times 2 is 18. If I put that into simplest form, I know that 3 is a factor of each. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 18 divided by 3 is 6. I now can divide each by 2 to get 4 over 3. And in simplest form, 4 minus 3, I get one full group with 1 left over. Number 3, I have 4/5 times 3 7/10. So the first thing I have to do is I've got to do my MAD method. I have to multiply, add, and my denominator stays the same. So I'm going to take 3 7/12. I take 12 times 3, which is 36. And then add that to 7 to get 42 over 12. Sorry, that's 43 over 12. And multiply that by 4/5. So 4 goes into 12 3 times, so 1 there. I divide this one by 4. 4 goes in there 12 times. So I have 43 over 15. Put that into simplest form. 43 minus 15 is 28. Minus 15 is 13. 13 is less than 15. So I've taken out one group, two groups, and I have 13 left out of 15. 2 and 13/15. Number 4 is 3 divided by 1/8. So I take 3. I remember my keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction the same, which is 3 over 1. Change the sign from divide to multiply, and flip the second fraction to its reciprocal, 1/8, as 8 over 1. When I multiply, 3 times 8 is 24. 1 times 1 is 1. And 24 over 1 is the same as 24. When I look at number 5, 5 is 4/16 times 12/18. So I go 6/14 times 12/18. I want to simplify this before I go any further. I know 6 goes into both 6 and 18. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And I also know 2 goes into both of those. So if I divide each by 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And when I multiply across, 1 times 6 is 6. 7 times 3 is 21. And again, I can divide each of those by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 21 divided by 3 is 7. There's my fraction in the simplest form. Number 6 is 7 5/7 divided by 3/14. So again, if I got to use my MAD method, I got to take 7 times 7, which is 49, plus 5 is 54 over 7, divided by 3/14. Now I need to use the keep, change, flip method. 54 over 7 times 14/3. 3 goes into 54, 1, 18 times. 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 14 twice. 18 times 2 is 36. 1 times 1 is 1. So my answer is 36. For example, number 7, it says solve the following problems. Write in simplest form and show your work. So it says it takes 1.5 gallons of paint to paint a room. Brandon has 7.5 gallons of paint. Total, how many rooms can he paint? So if it takes 1.5 gallons of paint for each room, he has 7.5 gallons. That tells me I have to divide. 7.5 divided by 1.5. So I have to use my MAD method first. So I multiply. 2 times 7 is 14. Plus 1 is 15 over 2. Divided by 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So now I use my keep, change, flip. First fraction the same, 15 over 2. Change the sign to multiply. And flip the second fraction to 2/3. When I multiply, 15 times 2 is 30. 2 times 3 is 6. And when I take 30 divided by 6, I get 5. And he can paint 5 rooms with all of that paint. Number 8, a flag measures 8 2/3 feet by 5 feet. What is the area? Well, the area of a flag is length times width. So here's my length, there's my width. So I have 8 2/3 times 5. Need to change my mixed number into an improper fraction, so I take 3 times 8, which is 24, plus 2 is 26. 3 is my denominator. And I multiply that by 5. 5 is a fraction, is 5 over 1. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 3 is 13. 3 times 1 is 3. So if I put that in simplest form, I'd take 130 divided by 3, which is going to be 43 1/3 feet squared. Number 9, Sullivan spent 6 hours doing homework over the weekend. If he spent 3/4 of an hour for each assignment, how many assignments did he do? So we're looking at 6 total hours. And he spent 3/4 of an hour on each assignment. So I have to take 6 and divide that by 3/4. Because we want to know how many assignments that he did. So I do my keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction the same, which is 6 over 1. Change the sign from divide to multiply. And I flip the second fraction to 4 over 3. I multiply across. 6 times 4 is 24. 1 times 3 is 3. And if I take 24 and I divide that by 3, I get 8 assignments. Number 10, Suzanne spent 3/8 of the day landscaping around her house. She spent 2/3 of that time planting flowers. What fraction of the day did Anne spend planting flowers? So 3/8 of the day is the total. She spent 2/3 of that. Of tells me to multiply. So when I multiply across, 3 times 2 is 6. 8 times 3 is 24. Put that into simplest form. I can divide each by 2. That gives me 3/12. And if I divide each of that by 3, I get 1/4 of the day. Number 11, Sarah bought 3.5 feet of rope for making jump ropes. How many whole 8-foot pieces of jump rope could she make from it? So I have to divide that. 37.5, I divide that by 8-foot pieces. So I take 2 times 37, which would be 60, 74. Plus 1 is 75 over 8. Change the sign to multiply. So then we divide that by 8 over 1. I remember my keep, change, flip strategy. So keep my first fraction the same, which is 75 over 8. Sorry, that is over 2. Change the sign to multiply and flip the second fraction, which would now be 1 over 8. As I multiply across, I get 75 over 16. And if I do equal groups, I want to know how many whole 8-foot. So I take 75 minus 16, which is going to be 6, which is going to be 59. Minus 16 is 43. Minus 16 is 27. Minus 16 is 13. So how many whole 16 pieces did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have 4 whole 8-foot pieces.